All right, gang. All right. That was Firewind Ode to Leonidas. Right before that, the brand new tune from Corners of Sanctuary, Burn, featuring their new lead singer, Trace Logan. And right before that, Dominicide with their self-titled tune. But I'm going to kill the background music right now, because, as promised, we got Mr. Kevin Cole from Seventh Chaos on the phone with us tonight. Kevin, how you doing, man?
Hey, man, I'm good. How you guys doing out there? Thanks for having us on the show tonight, man. We appreciate it. A little bit of, you know how it is out there.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Thank you, though. Thanks for taking the time and hanging out with us tonight, man.
Oh, hell yeah, man. My pleasure.
Dude, Seventh Chaos, man. Tell us a little bit about the band. Give us a little bit of history, brother.
We've been out in the scene for a little while. We've been kind of hit and miss, you know, because I've had some injuries. So I've had a lot of different surgeries that kept us out of the game. And about 5 years ago, you know, is probably about when we started, but we had some trouble with the original drummer. So we were doing a lot of stuff with him. You know, we opened for Dying Fetus and a couple other big-name bands like that for a while. We were out on the scene doing a little bit. But then everything fell apart with him, so we kind of took a small break. Then we got our other drummer, Joey Timone, who's drumming with us now. So we're back at it, doing what we can do. But, you know, you just got to catch me between surgeries because I'm always having some kind of issue. But, you know, we're kind of a thrash, death metal mix. We got a lot of influences. Try to do what we can, the best we can, however we can do it. And just try to sound the best that we can as we do it, you know.
Yeah, man, that's cool. Cool, man. So, how'd you guys finally decide on the name Seventh Chaos, man?
Back when we started, like when Jake and I started in like the 90s when we were little-ass kids, we wanted to use the band name Derision, but that was used. And me, I was kind of into a lot of that Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing, so I was writing stories. And I had this story idea about a warrior, and it was like just a lineage of different warriors, and the seventh guy was like the supreme warrior of all of them, and that's kind of where it came from, as I used that story, because we had wrote a song called Till Death, and it was all about that guy.
Oh,
so the name came from this story that I wrote back when I was younger, because I was the comic book buff and wanted to write books and all that bullshit. I still got some of that story, but that's where the name really originated from, was just from some crazy story about warriors, Conan the Barbarian type shit.
That's cool, man. That's really cool, man. So I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say, like, you're digging movies like Lord of the Rings and shit like that.
Yeah, I was a big fan of that fantasy type stuff. Lord of the Rings, Dungeons and Dragons, Conan, Warriors, shit like that.
I
actually read the books too, man, when I was younger. Which a lot of people are like, what the fuck's a book?
No shit, you know, no shit, dude. No shit,
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. I read the Lord of the Rings books too, man. Before long ago, before there were,
Yeah.
So I'm right there.
Not a lot of people read that, and a lot of people are like, what the hell, man, you mean a book?
Book? What?
I just thought it was a movie, you know?
You got a whole, what, you don't scroll?
Hey, man.
Right? Dude, the songwriting, man. First, I gotta say, kick-ass tunes, brother. They're killer. But
I appreciate that.
Tell us about the songwriting, man. Would you say it's is it a one-person effort? Is it a group effort? How do you guys go about writing your tunes?
A lot of it, you know, like I usually will write it on my own because I'll be sitting home doing something or another and kind of come up with different ideas. And I usually will bring it to them, and everybody will hear it, and then we'll kind of make adjustments where it's needed to be. Because we try really hard to not ourselves. We want every song we have to be almost like its own single. And then, like I said, he'll kind of throw his idea, what he thinks I should do, if I should add something, take something away, or he'll throw a riff or two to me to put in there. So it's like we'll kind of get a blueprint, and then everybody will kind of throw their idea in on top of it. Sometimes I'll come in with something and they'll like it and it works. Other times we'll all have to kind of work together and restructure it or cut it apart. You know, it just get edited, and it just depends on the time. But everybody gets an opinion, though. I don't write something and say, this is what we're doing. I always ask everybody's opinion if that's what they want to do, or if they think something should be adjusted or added to, you know.
Well, that's
I definitely want everybody to feel part of the band. You know? I don't want to take that.
Right. Now, I was just going to say, that usually makes for a tighter unit when everybody has a say on what's going on.
Yeah, you got to do that, you know, because if Jake didn't throw his ideas at what I'm doing, I tend to kind of run ideas over top other ideas just because I don't remember it. I'm just playing, and sometimes things run together. And I might have a riff that I've already used, and he'll be like, hey, asshole, you already used that riff. Like, oh, shit, yeah, we got to change that. All right, good call. So, yeah, he always catches me on that because, like I said, man, when you're in the mood, we've already done.
Right.
There's a lot of bands out there that we've played with in the past that play like the same song for, you know, the whole set.
Yeah.
So we try our best not to do things like that.
No, I hear you, man. I hear you. There's
I don't like to say that because I don't want to sound like an ass to other bands. I respect what bands do because they play what they want to play, but, you know, I don't like when you hear a band and then they change on and it sounds like the same band.
Yeah.
What's going on? There's a lot of that, you know, nowadays, but, you know, it's one of the things.
Right. Well, you know, and I often talk about that with other bands. Like you know, we were talking earlier off air there about the 80s, man. And back then, like, when a song came on, you knew who the band was, like, either by the guitar tone or the singer. You knew who they were before it was announced, man. It's not like that nowadays, man. There's not too many bands that stand out.
Yeah, it's kind of a generic sound, you know. I've got everything. It's like the Nike tennis shoes. Everybody wanted a pair of those Nike tennis shoes, so everybody's got that generic sound that just sounds like the other band because that's what's popular. I don't know why, but you know, you like what you like, so I can respect that. But like in the '80s, I always liked how everybody had their own sound, their own attitude. Everything was their own. And it stood apart from everybody, but everybody was into it. Everybody respected everybody else. Everybody listened and supported everybody else. There wasn't any kind of weird friction like today where people like one band and they knock some other band for some stupid reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
exactly. Or even like on the local scene, man. They go, you know, the people that go see their friends' bands, and then that's it. They're out. They don't hang around to see the other bands. Yeah, then they take off to fuck the other bands. I don't know why they do that. You know, you got to hear other bands to find stuff that you like. You know, that's why back in the old days, people liked other bands. They wanted to hear it, and you had to go see it to hear it, you know? Exactly.
Nowadays, they just don't do that. Like, you got to listen, man. You got to give everybody a chance. They should have the opportunity to be heard, and they should be heard. And if you like it or you don't like it, that's up to you. But you should give them a chance to be heard because you might like something, and if you miss out because you want to be an asshole, that's not a good thing. That's not what the scene needs.
No, exactly, man. I mean, it seems fucked up as it is without anything like that, right?
Oh yeah.
And that's from the top down to the bottom, man. It's fucked up.
Oh yeah.
Right? Oh, dude.
Yeah. What's going on with it?
So let's spin a tune here, man. I got Illusions of the Past on deck, man. Tell us about that tune.
That song's got a couple different meanings. When we write songs lyrically, we try to have a couple meanings to it. You know, it might mean something for me. It might mean something to the next guy. But lyrically, my mother died of cancer, so I threw a lot of that into this song. And then somebody really close to me, his mother almost overdosed. Wow. So we threw some of that inspiration into this as well. So depending on how you take this song, you know, you can look at it in 2 or 3 different ways, but it's a deep song on the lyrical fact of somebody who was really close to you died. And when you're listening to it's hard to hear the lyrics because I sing like, you know, I'm trying to throw up or something. So some people, they're not going to understand the lyrics, but lyrically, you know, you kind of look at the side of you think they gave up and left you, or you look at the side of, hey, you did your best and it's time for you to go and be at peace for a change. So there's different meanings to that song. But for me, my mother died, and that's a lot of what that one means to me,
right?
Personally, for me. But like I said, to you, it could mean a totally different thing. And we try to do that with the lyrics, so you can always put your input in and make that song something for you, as opposed to what I originally made it for.
Cool, man. Cool. All right, gang, check it out. This is Seventh Chaos with Illusions of the Past. We'll be right back with more Kevin Cole. All right, gang, we're back with Mr. Kevin Cole from Seventh Chaos. Kevin, how you doing, man?
Man, it hurts my throat just listening to that, man.
Oh, dude. So, dude, when did you first start playing and singing? When did you know that this is what you wanted to do?
It was sometime definitely in the early 90s I started playing. I was still a little kid. I was in middle school, and I just got into, like, Megadeth at the time. And then one of the kids that sat behind me was a drummer, and he saw that I had Metallica and Megadeth written on my textbook. He was like, hey, dude, you should join my band. And that's when it kicked in, like, hey, that's something I should do. But I didn't have a guitar. I never played. I didn't do anything before. So when I finally got a guitar, I just started messing with it, dicking around with it, and it just felt natural. It felt like, hey, man, I should do this. So the drummer invited me to his house, and we just started screwing around, and he had one of these little tape cassette recorders or something. I don't even remember, but this is like ancient times, man, you know, the cassette tape. And he recorded it. So when we played it back, you know, I mean, we sucked at the time because we were little kids, but it was cool sounding. You know, like you could hear the raw attitude behind it.
Right.
That's when I really got into, like, all right, this is something that I really need to do. I wasn't singing yet, but I was just playing the guitar. And I was like, this is something that I need to pursue farther and make better. Because it was really cool. It was really fun. And like I said, it just felt natural, you know?
Cool, man. Cool.
And that's old. That is so long ago. God damn, I feel old now.
Dude, no, you aged me too, man, because we used to do the exact same thing. Pop on a tape and press record. You know, it sounded
much
like
easier
shit.
than nowadays. Nowadays, you got to have all this equipment hooked into some computer to record anymore, and it's not as easy. And it just screw that. I miss just hitting that button and recording. That's all you had to do.
That was it, man. That was it. Oh my God, no shit, dude. So, what would you say is the first your musical influences, man? Who influenced you?
We definitely were influenced, me personally, mostly by early on was Metallica, well, Megadeth and Metallica, because they were the first heavy metal bands that I had ever heard of. When I was growing up, I lived with my grandparents. My mother was real young when she had me, so she was still in high school. So she was listening to hip-hop. My grandparents listened to country music, so I didn't like any of that shit. But I was never exposed to much else. I didn't know much else. Eventually, I came across Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction, and that's the first time I saw, like, hard rock kind of music. And I'm like, now this is fucking cool, because I'd never heard this. I didn't know this kind of stuff was out there. Then when I was in, I forget what grade, like third or fourth grade, a friend of mine had a Megadeth album, and I'm assuming his parents like, you cannot have that shit in my house. So they told him to get rid of it. So he gave that to me, and that was the first time I had ever heard any kind of thrash or heavy metal. And when I heard the song "Set the World Afire" from Megadeth,
Yeah,
I was hooked. It's like, I've got to learn how to play like this. I've got to find out what this is about. And I've been a huge fan of that band ever since.
awesome band.
And
Awesome.
that's how it all got started. Funny that Guns N' Roses is like the first band that got me into this stuff. But like I said, growing up with grandparents listening to like Hank Williams, that was like a huge step for me, you know, hearing that. But that's how it started, you know, Guns N' Roses, the Megadeth, and then from then on, you know.
Right, now I hear you, man. I hear you. Dude, so what do you listen to these days, man?
I still listen to a lot of the classic stuff, man. I still listen to Death. He was one of the big influences for me as far as guitar playing. But I still listen to old school Metallica and Megadeth. But a lot of the times when I'm sitting home by myself, I'll punch up on YouTube classic thrash metal. A lot of, like, you know, Nuclear Assault and stuff like that. Man, I love that stuff. Old school, you know, B-level thrash metal that you just never really got to see or never got to hear. Great music, awesome attitude, great riffs. It's really a shame that stuff never got as big as it should have got.
No shit.
But that's kind of a lot of mostly what I listen to. I mean, we're kind of more on the death metal side when it comes to music, but I'm still kind of stuck on the whole thrash wave, man. It's just something about that really keeps my attention, and you just never know what to expect, you know. It's always something coming at you it's just like atomic bombs going off, man. You know, it's great.
Right.
I miss that. I really wish that stuff would come back.
No shit. I hear you, man. So, dude, when you're not writing, rehearsing, or, you know, out on the road, man, what do you do for a day off, man? What do you do to kick back and relax?
Well, I got a 3-year-old, so, you know, he likes to kick the shit out of me all the time. I think he saw a wrestling video I watched one time, so I'll be sitting there watching TV, and then he'll just come diving off the counter on me or something crazy, like Jimmy Superfly Snuka. But I'm a big fan of martial arts. I like to do jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. That's something I like to do when I'm in between surgeries, you know, because I'm always messed up somehow. But a big fan of martial arts and being a parent. I try to put a lot of time into the boys I can.
Right. No, I hear you, man. There's not much free time when you have little kids running around.
No, yeah, it's work, and, you know, you try to do music, you try to do, you know, any kind of martial art or anything. It's difficult, but, you know, I definitely make time for him. You know, I'm not like some parents who are like, I'll get him tomorrow. I always try to make sure every day to do something with him.
That's cool, man. That's great. Hats off to you, man. Not a lot of guys like that around.
And I grew up with some of that, so I made sure not to do that, you know.
I hear you. I'm right there with you, man. Dude, so throughout your career so far, man, what would you say is your most memorable moment so far?
On stage or just with the band
well,
at all?
Yeah, either or, man. Well,
oh, God, dude. You know, well, you look at us and you see the band name Seventh Chaos. Every time we do a show, there is some stupid shit that happens. And it could be good, it could be bad, but, I mean, we played in Philly, and, like, mid-set, the place caught on fire. We finished the set before we got out of there. They had the fire department and everything. We like, no, we're not stopping until we're done. We're playing during the fire. You know, that happened one time. Another time, a guy jumped on stage, knocked my mic over, almost hit me. I kicked him and stomped his head into the ground. It knocked him out. I pushed him off into the crowd. Some dude just said, hey, I'm going to put his mic stand back up. We just kept playing like nothing happened. I felt kind of bad, but Jake smashed the bass. I'm like, hey, dude, you can have the broken bass. It just shit happens. But
I hear you.
One of the funniest moments we had, we were playing a show, and we were supposed to play at 8:30. But something happened, and they said, hey, guys, can you play at midnight? We want you to, close the show out. So Jake and I all right, we'll do that. And so we started drinking, doing shots, and we got fucked up. So midway through this show, I was like, hey, Jake, introduce this next song. And we're drunk, and we were going to play the song Rape the Grave. And he's like, yo, I'm going to rape every one of you motherfuckers in this building, and you're going to like it. This song's Rape the Grave. And that was one of the best moments, because I got a guy who told me, like, he contacted me the next day, like, management asked me to tell you guys to deter from speaking about sexual assault anytime you play at our venue again. And it was just one of them moments. It's like, wait a minute, did you really say that shit? But, that was
it's cool, but it's not cool,
moments.
you know what I mean?
I love that, man. I wish we had that on camera, because that was the funniest thing that ever happened.
Oh, shit.
Always something crazy.
I was just going to do it. I usually follow up with, do you have any Spinal Tap moments to share with us? But I think they all qualify as Spinal Tap moments.
I swear, it's like we did another show, and every band played, everything was fine. As soon as we finished, the cops showed up and shut the place down. I said, well, what the hell did we do? But we blew it up, and they're like, you guys got to shut down for the night. And there's always something it's not always a bad thing, but it's just something crazy happens when we do a show that makes you look back and wait a minute, what the hell is wrong with this guy? And it's fun. It's definitely like nothing really negative. It's just like, whoa. But that's the whole metal scene, man. That's the best part about it. Is like, we're allowed to do this stuff. We're supposed to be crazy.
Honest to God, right? And that, that's why I asked that question, Spinal Tap, because I think any band can relate to everything that's happened in that movie, man.
Yeah, one of the funnier things that happened to me on stage, we played a show in Seaford, and it was kind of a hole in the wall, and this is one of the times that I didn't use my own microphone. And I had really faulty electricity and really faulty wiring, and the microphone was taped together.
Oh.
And I should have known from the start, don't fuck with this mic. But during the set, we're playing one of these real complicated songs that we had, and my lip touched the microphone, and it shocked the shit out of me. I'm talking like straight electrical assault to my face. It was probably a good second and a half of just getting shocked. Because when I finally pulled my face away, Jake, the bass player, he was looking like, what the fuck are you doing, man? And we played the rest of the song, but I'm like, dude, that thing just electrocuted the shit out of me. I tasted that electrical taste for like 2 days, man. That thing shocked the shit out of me. I think I got video footage of that too, man. You can like see me just shaking on it. And like, oh, did you having a seizure or something? That moment sucked. It's funny, but it sucks. Yeah. I remember that hurt.
Holy shit. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm tearing here, man. I'm in tears.
Out there, use your own mics. Make sure you use your own mics.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
Shit you're coming into. It was just one of the nights I was like, fuck it, I'll just use it. I don't care.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, I definitely learned from that one. It kind of hurts thinking about it right now.
Oh, shit. Dude, let's play another song. I got Life and Death on deck, man. Tell us about the tune.
Oh, this is great. When we came up for the idea for this, I work in a warehouse. And, I'm up at like 2:30 in the morning to go to work. So I get off earlier in the day, but I'm up super early. So I might sleep 2 or 3 hours a night if I'm lucky. So I'm always texting Jake during the day because he's my best friend, man. We grew up, we're like brothers. I'm like, dude, I want to blow my brains out. This sucks. So we just start throwing lyric lines. So this whole song is it's just cut and dry. It's about suicide. And when we wrote this, we're like, all right, let's make this, let's make this a little bit cooler than just a straight, I'm going to kill myself today. So the idea behind this song was the guy was going to blow his brains out. And he was playing Russian roulette. So you put one bullet in, you spin the wheel, you know how Russian roulette goes. Well, as it's going on, he's like, I'm not dead yet. So it starts getting more exciting for him. And then as the song goes on, it picks up kind of towards the end. When you hear it, you'll hear it pick up a little bit faster, and it's a little bit more exciting. He gets all 6 bullets in there. And in the line, it's like, I play to feel alive, but in the end, I'll surely die. But the excitement is, hey, can I win this, or am I going to die? So we tried to make a screwed up situation sound cool, which, we're metalheads. We're allowed to do that.
Right.
But it leaves you hanging. Like, well, did he die or did the gun misfire? It leaves you to make your own conclusion of your own life, because I know somebody who had a certain situation where he wanted to die, and, he did try to commit suicide. So he pulled the hammer, and he said when he fired it, it misfired. But it was loaded, but the bullet misfired. And he's alive to this day. And that was one of the inspirations behind the song. It's like, when you're that low, when you really come to the point where you want to kill yourself, but the bullet misfires, it's like, it's not your time yet. So all that stuff is like into this song, because, you could look at it in a positive way, you could look at it in a negative way, however you want to look at it. But it's like, there's always tomorrow.
Right.
So if you're down in the gutter, you can always try to make it better tomorrow, or you can give in like this song says. But at the end of this song, it leaves you wondering, hey, you can make the choice. You know, did you die or did you live and continue on? So it's definitely a screwed up song, all brought on because I just didn't feel like working that day. But that was really the whole idea behind it. But yeah, we just started saying, hey man, let's make this about Russian roulette. But we always try to put a couple different options to a song. You know, I don't want it to be straight. I mean, sometimes the song's black and white. You know, it's just you know, this is what it's about simply. But I typically try to make it optional. You know, I want it to mean something for me. If you listen to it, I'd like it to mean something strictly for you. You know, so even though this is a song about suicide, you can still make this out to be something positive, or you can make it out to be fucked up and negative, which is fine with me. You know, we're just a bunch of long-haired assholes who try to do something to get some shock value, or hey, it's like maybe them long-haired guys actually have a bit of a brain behind that freaking crazy look. You know?
I hear you, man. I dig it. You know,
that's why I like the name Chaos in the name. You never know what to expect with it.
That's it, man. That's it. You know, and I always say any day you're on this side of the dirt is a good day. So
definitely. Right? Don't kill yourself. I'm not telling you to kill yourself with this song, but take this and, you know, do something good with your life, you know?
There you go, man. All right, listeners, check it out. This is Seventh Chaos with Life and Death. We'll be right back with more Kevin Cole. All right, gang, we're back with Kevin Cole. Another killer tune, man. Dude, unbelievable. We're talking a little bit off air. I guess we're aging ourselves a little bit here, talking about pre-internet days and the struggles, right?
Yeah, it was some fun times.
But yeah, man, like you were saying, you actually had to put in the footwork to find new music or, discover a new band. You had to, it's not like...
Yeah, you'd have to go out and find some magazines like Rip Magazine or Hit Parader or any kind of magazine that had anything to do with music and that would talk about heavy metal. Because without the internet, you couldn't find it. You might go to the shopping malls and they got all this music, but, maybe 2 or 3 out of 10 is a heavy metal band. But you don't know because you don't hear about it because they didn't play that stuff on MTV. And MTV was still kind of up and coming at the time. So you really didn't get to hear different music, and they definitely didn't play that stuff on the air.
No.
So you really had to dig and dig and dig to try to find about any kind of heavy metal music.
Right.
And, with me, like I said, we lived like 45 minutes from the nearest shopping mall. So every so often we would go up there to find new music. And even then it was taking a risk because Jake and I, we would save all the pocket change we could save. And when we did get a chance to go to the mall, we would try to pick out anything that looked like a heavy metal album. And we would take a chance buying it, trying to hear something new. Because this was, before we were driving kind of days.
Right.
But, you didn't have the internet. You couldn't research these bands. You had no way to hear these bands. All you ever got to hear was like AC/DC or something. You didn't get... And during mid-'90s, Metallica got big. They were played on the air a lot with Enter Sandman and stuff like that.
Right.
But you didn't hear Slayer and all these other heavier bands.
Dude, so... Since your first tunes, would you say you guys have evolved musically?
It's hard to say, it just comes, you write a song, the song comes when it comes. You just want to be heavy, you want to be thrashy. It just depends what you're feeling at the time. It's really hard to say, how your songs come out.
Right.
Shit comes up when it comes up. It's just kind of a weird riff will occur, and everybody will say, "Hey, keep doing that, keep playing that," and then a song will come out of it. So it's really hard to kind of say how that stuff happens.
Right.
It's weird how that happens.
Right. But I mean, even studio, as far as studio, like we were talking Chasing the Dragon. Your term there, man. You always want to sound that better, that much better than previous.
Yeah, man, Chasing the Dragon. This is something that Jake and I came up with, and you're chasing a mythical thing that isn't there. You always want to sound better. You always want to be better. You always want something that's going to give you a little bit extra. Whether it's an amp, a guitar, an effect. You always want something to try to sound better because you want to sound better. When I'm playing a song, when I'm playing on stage, I want to sound better for those people who are listening to me because I want to present what I have to offer in the best way that I can.
Right. If
I have a cheap little practice amp that sounds like shit, if I was listening, I would kind of be offended because it's like, hey, I want to hear good music. So if you're serious about what you're doing, I want to hear a good version of what you have to offer. So when I'm playing, I try to get the best thing that I can, get the best sound that I can give those who are listening to us,
Right.
And granted, if you don't have money, you don't have money. I respect that because money is fucked up these days. So if a guy's on stage with a practice amp, I can understand that. But me personally, I want to give the best performance I can give somebody. So we always try to do what we can to get the best sound we can get. And no matter what it is, you might have the greatest sound right this moment, but 10 minutes later, you know what, this sucks. I got to fix this. And then you want to start adding to it. whether it's a new amp or a new head or a new pickup, or, it's really difficult because sounds, are good 1 minute and then the next minute you want it better. So it's a constant chase. It's a constant struggle. And that's where that whole term chasing the dragon came from, man, because you're never going to catch it. You might get close one day, but you're never going to catch it.
Exactly, man. Exactly. And, as far like studio goes, usually when a band goes in to do their second CD, the first one was a learning experience, like what not to do. Like, like you could probably get a better sounding CD out of the second one for less money because you know what not to do because of the first one.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, because you go in there, you don't know what to expect. So you got a lot of butterflies, you're nervous, you make small mistakes that aren't that big of a deal, but, at the time you think it's the end of the world. So the second time in, so you know what? I want to thicken this sound up, or you come to conclusions of what you want to do and how you want to do it, and it's not such a big deal.
Right.
But the first time in there, it's a big deal because you're not sure what to expect, and when you're paying money out, you're trying to think, all right, I don't want to blow a shit ton of money on bullshit. But at the same time, it's like, hey, take the time, take a few dollars, try something, because you never know what you're going to get.
Exactly.
Exactly. But when we went in there and did our first EP, the EP that, the songs that you're hearing now, it's kind of demo quality because that was the studio we went to. But that's pretty much what we went in there. That's what we did live. When you came to see us live, that's what you were getting. So we went in there with the attitude of we're just going to play the songs the way we would live. We didn't really go in there with a crazy studio attitude of a lot of studio quality stuff. We're just like, I want to kind of give them a live experience where the next time they go in there, we'll definitely try to add a little bit more studio quality to it,
Right. Cool, man. Cool.
Learning experience, man.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. Right? Onward and upward. That's what I always say. Dude, for the young guns out there, man, the guys just starting out, what advice do you have for them, man?
You got to know what you want to do, man. You got to be yourself. You got to have your own attitude. Don't go in there thinking you're somebody else. Be who you want to be. Play what you want to play. If people don't like it, they don't like it. If they like it, they like it. But you got to be yourself. We learned that early on. We never wanted to try to be somebody else. We might have sounded like a band that inspired us, but we do that out of respect. Like, this is who inspired us. We want to represent what they did for us and then take it from there and do what we do. So when you're starting out, man, do what you got to do. Be who you are. Play what you're going to play. Just don't fall into that category of sounding like somebody else. That's what I always say.
Dude, that's what it's all about, right? So when you get that second CD done, man, we'll get you guys back on.
Oh, hell yeah, you'll be the first to get it, man.
Killer. Thank you, man. All right, listeners, check it out. Seventh Chaos with Rape the Grave. We'll be right back.
Section